This episode, with insights from my guest, we delve into the transformation from an everyday drug user to a globetrotting content creator. My guest is Michael, and where heroin wants to find him as a consumer, YouTube has turned him into a creator. Trapped in a job he despised, he saw only two options: let the job and the drug use consume him, or quit to pursue his dream of becoming a videographer and a traveler. For him, the choice was clear. In only 2 weeks, he quit heroin, started creating content, and found fulfillment that drugs could never provide. We also offer this public service announcement. We advise against getting tattoos by your girlfriend and urge you to steer clear of internet. Let's jump in. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a Mildly Good podcast. I'm so excited for my guest tonight. This has been a long time in the making, so I'm glad he finally got here. And he's having a baby, so like he even made time for me then. Before I get started...
It's right here.
Not his baby. Regular shout-outs, Joe and Jardine Media. He's the one who makes me look cool on the internet, so follow him. Wish Pocket, that's my guy Jason. He does all my audio. That's why we sound so good. My guy Jaron, he has No Names Originals. Support local North Carolina artist. My guy Mo, he has a Go Bubble app, and if you use a promo code Go Moderately, you get a discount. My guy Peyton has Lone Sun Decor. The reason I'm saying he's so slow is because I feel like I'm gonna mess him up. Lone Sun Decor, he does cool art on wood, Aztec. He does stickers, a bunch of cool, unique stuff. I have some of his stuff like here in the garage. I also have Jaron's stuff here in the garage. And then last but not least, my best sponsor, because he's the one that provides booze and food, my guy David Cupcake at Shiner Saloon. Go check those guys out. Thank you, Cup. I appreciate it so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, because that helps everybody out, right? That's cool. Mm-hmm. That's cool. This guy's got a couple. And then if you're watching this on Spotify, because there is video, or listening on Apple Podcasts, please hit the follow button. Do you go by Mike or Michael?
Did you have that written down somewhere?
Yes,
that was good. You have a cheat sheet,
but I don't really use it anymore. It's just more of
you didn't look at it once.
Yeah, well, if you notice, like I kind of was looking down, I was like channeling, like trying to remember everything, because like I don't like when I kind of look at it and then like it looks like I'm looking at it. But yeah, there's a cheat sheet.
I would have had to do like 10 takes of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've done this probably like 80 times. So yeah. So do you go by Mike or Michael?
Either's fine. Mike, usually
Mike,
Mike's
how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be here. This is like you said, a long time coming. So I'm happy to be sitting in the chair.
I appreciate it so much. Before we get started, like just bombarding you with questions, give all your shout outs for all your stuff, because you do really cool shit.
Oh man, thank you. So yeah, my main platform is YouTube. Wandering Wolf is the channel. I focus on ancient sites around the world and travel related topics. I do want to give a huge shout out to my editors, Ethan and Tatum, and I got a new editor, Daniel. These guys are crushing it. They've been responsible for the total uptick in the quality on the channel over the last year or two. And then my other big platform is Twitter. It's at WWolfProd. So WWOLFPROD. And I do have a website, and that is wanderingwolfproductions.com. And I will be I didn't tell you this, but I'm releasing a book. I have a book coming out.
No way.
At the beginning of next year, and that'll be on all the platforms if anyone decides they're interested after watching this.
It's an audio book?
No, it'll be
like a Kindle reader kind of thing?
Yeah, it'll be audio. It'll be like a Kindle book. Yeah, you can buy it ebook or like a.
Are you going to do an audio book?
Like talk.
Hey, would you read it?
Maybe I should.
I only do audiobooks, so you got it. Now you got to do one.
No, I have to make one.
Or you have to go to my house and read it to me.
Hey, we're close enough to make it happen. But So those are my three main platforms: the website, Twitter, and the YouTube channel.
Okay, so it's Ethan, Daniel, and who's the other one?
Ethan Tatum Daniel.
Ethan Tatum Daniel. What's the Christmas party looking like this year? What are y'all going to do for this year's Christmas
Well,
party?
they live all over the place. I think Daniel's the only one here in Austin, and Ethan's over in New York, and Tatum's out in LA.
Isn't that crazy? That's where the internet is, where that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just wild
that we're able to work that far apart. Well,
yeah. Well, and the pandemic kind of honed a lot of that in. You know what I mean? If you weren't good at it before, you better be good at it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how my personal business just changed because of all that stuff. It became, for me and what I do, it became the excuse breaker, because when people are supposed to meet with me, they bring on all kinds of excuses, including like traffic or whatever else. I'm like, well, you have a phone?
Yeah.
Where are you at?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. You know, and that changed the dynamic of the whole thing.
Yeah, I have friends that have not gone back to work. They just work from home now. Some of them like it, some of them don't. I think.
Why do you think people don't like the people that don't like working from home?
Bro, I don't know. I want to stay at home. I want to go. That's all me right there. But I think some people need the interaction and the social. You know.
Okay, let me ask you this: Has work just always been work for you up until the point where you started doing the Wandering Wolf?
Yeah.
And
no, I take that back. There's been jobs that I enjoy. I enjoyed my time in the military. I knew immediately that it wasn't for me. But
how immediately are you talking? Like first day?
Yeah, not in the sense that I didn't think I could hack it or do it. I knew I had it. I joined the infantry when I was like 20. And I was like, yeah, I got this, but it gave me a lot of things that I needed, like discipline, responsibility, stuff that I was sorely lacking in my life. But, you know, I'm way more of a individual and kind of free. I don't know if free spirit's the right word. Not like all hippy dippy, but like I kind of marched with the beat of my own drum with a lot of things. And, you know, the military is very regimented and especially in the infantry. And I just knew that wasn't going to be some like long-term career thing for me, like right away.
Yeah.
But it sure is fun blowing shit up.
Yeah. I've never personally been into it, but like I like watching shit get blown up.
Yeah, man. I got to mess with some pretty cool stuff.
Do you ever mess like, is it tannerite? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Do you ever mess with it?
I don't know if it's tannerite we used in the military, but we use shape charges and dead charges. And
you ever been to a party where people are drinking like out in the woods or in a field, and then they're blowing shit up with guns and stuff like that? You ever been to a party like that?
You know, I grew up in Austin. We'd go out to the woods, and drink, but that was probably a bit more country.
Well, I mean, I grew up in a little smaller place.
Yeah.
I went to a party where they were shooting tannerite with like a gun.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
I mean, it's far away, but I mean, when you actually hit that shit, you know what I mean?
It's like, that's no joke.
No, not at all.
I think it's wild that you can just buy that stuff as a civilian, because you could do some crazy ass shit with that. And it's pretty wild that it hasn't happened. I mean, maybe it has, but
I mean, you just put thoughts in my head that I was like, wow. Like,
especially as kids having access to that stuff, man. We were crazy kids. I don't know if having tannerite for some of the stuff that we were doing back then would have been a great idea.
Okay, I wanted to ask you this. What okay. Kind of real quick rundown.
Yeah.
All the places not all the places you've been, maybe the highlights of places you've been, and then maybe kind of your favorite place that you've gone like so far. I know this is a very basic ass question, but like you've been a lot of places that like when you were kind of like we were talking before, you were spitting them off and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know where any of these places are. And you said China. I was like, know where that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
China was a great trip. China was interesting because I went to some parts of China where they clearly had never seen someone like me.
Like tattooed, tall,
white.
So I've also been to China.
Okay.
And I was taking pictures with people.
Yeah. Everywhere I went, I was taking pictures.
I mean,
and I was like a foot taller than everybody.
like it's
and 100
weird.
pounds heavier. I went to this. Where were we? I can't remember where we were. We were in some village, and like 20 kids came out of nowhere. And first, it was because I was white and tall,
Right.
And when they got closer, it was the tattoos. So they're grabbing my arms and checking out all the tattoos and stuff. But once they noticed my eyes, it was like they went crazy. They pulled me down to my knees. I had to sit there and let them all look at my eyes. I guess they'd never seen green eyes before, but that amazed them more than the tattoos or anything else.
I took a picture with somebody's baby.
They made you hold their baby?
Yeah, and I have the picture somewhere. It's me.
You should have just slowly started backing away with the baby.
But I mean, it was so crazy because they were like, hey, can you take a picture with our baby? And I was like, I guess.
I mean, it's weird, right? Like feeling like you're, because like you kind of get treated kind of like a celebrity in some of those places almost.
It was probably the closest thing I've experienced to celebrity. And and then don't get it twisted. Nobody gave a shit.
Right.
But just like, I remember, so at the time where I went, like iPhones weren't what they are. And like, we still had like handheld cameras and like things like that, little tapes and shit that were like, you do. And I remember going back and watching footage of like me holding the camera, and you would just see people just move out of my way. Like they would just like, didn't even want to be in the shot. Didn't even want to like get and it was weird.
Huh.
But I was also like on a tour. Like I was on a tour. You're going there like filming. I'm on a tour with a bunch of other people that are being tourists with a camera.
We stay away from tours. I say we. My cousin Austin travels with me quite a bit, but when I go, I'm. Yeah.
What kind? So places you've gone to? What are they?
You know, I've been all over. I will say that the ones that pop out the most always are Bolivia, Lebanon, Bolivia and Peru, Lebanon, Ireland. But I have family history in Ireland.
You like Ireland?
I loved it. It felt like home.
Really?
But my family's from Ireland, and I was able to go back. We come from a town called Castle Pollard, and I was able to find my family history there with the town historian, which is really cool.
That's pretty cool.
And the house that my family used to live in there is still standing.
Oh, wow.
My family came over in 1852 on the cattle barges into Louisiana through New Orleans into Texas.
Wow.
And so it was really cool finding out that part of my family history, and then traveling all over Ireland was just amazing. I was named after Michael Collins, who's this famous Irish revolutionary. They did a movie with Liam Neeson. He played it. Julia Roberts was in it. So when I'm over there, and I was drinking pretty heavily back then, right? And I went over there during St. Patrick's Day. Every time I show my ID over there, they're like, your name's Michael Collins? And it's just like free booze. And they have a whiskey over there that's called Michael Collins too. So I always end up with a shot of whiskey. So
I have been to Ireland as well.
Mm-hmm.
I went for a wedding. And it's basically like when you go into these small little not small towns, but you go into these towns, a lot of times it's like cobblestone and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then it'll be like bar, shop, bar, shop,
They like
restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Bar. And we were there for St. Patrick's Day, and St. Patrick's Day over there is nothing like St. Patrick's Day over here.
Oh yeah.
Like over there, like I don't even feel like it was a big deal to wear green. They were just like, we're celebrating. We're not going to wear green as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're just celebrating.
It's a bit like St. Patrick's Day in Dublin and the tourist parts of town are crazy.
More like here.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. Like, where were we? We were in a really small town on St. Patrick's Day.
But it's funny because you get out into those small towns, and it's like, one of the things we noticed was like every older guy, I'm talking guys in their 50s and 60s, they're all like white as a tree trunk and bald, and this, they all just, you can't understand a word they're saying. It was funny. A lot of these little towns that we went through going around Ireland, but it's so beautiful. If you were over there during St. Patrick's Day, then it had to have been really green everywhere.
Oh, dude. So when we were over there, I'm not even making this up. It rained.
Yeah.
It sunshined.
Mm-hmm.
It snowed.
Did it?
It snowed. We were coming back on a bus, and I remember being so cold on the bus that my toes felt like they got frostbite.
Yeah.
Because it like snowed, and then like it was windy.
Yeah.
I mean, we got every weather while we're there. The snow thing was crazy because they had said like it was like in March, obviously.
Yeah.
And it hadn't snowed like in March in like years or something.
We didn't get any. We went way up north too and didn't get any snow.
Well, I don't see it. I'd have to look at a map to see where we were. We were going back to the airport. So I guess we were going back maybe to Dublin. But it was like a fluke thing. But I was like, man, this place. Golly. Did you do the Guinness tour? Have you done the Guinness tour? Or is that too touristy for you?
My two buddies that I was with did. Mm-hmm. I was nursing a hangover with a young lady I met that night.
Okay, well, yeah, fair enough. Did you do the Jameson?
Same thing.
Golly. Well, you know what? I mean,
I tore Dublin up. It was wild.
Granted, you didn't miss very much.
Yeah. Well, I would have liked to do that, but no, I was out of commission.
Did you eat fish and chips while you're there?
Oh yeah.
Where's the best place to get fish and chips? And
stay out of Temple Bar. That's the tourist area, right? And everybody goes there.
Yeah, that place sucks. I mean, not suck, but it's just so crowded in the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's just that's the tourist spot. Everybody goes there. Branch out a little bit because there's whole districts right around that area you can walk to that are not so touristy. It's like walking around 6th Street in Austin,
I forgot that we went to a bunch of castles too.
Oh, it's great.
You know what I realized about people back then? Is they were small.
Yeah.
Because when you walk up in these castles and these things,
you have to bend over at the waist.
Yeah. And the steps are small.
You're tall.
I'm not as tall as you, but I'm tall enough for it to be too short inside those castles.
Yeah, it is. And, I don't know if you know or familiar, we one of the main ancient sites that I went to film over there was Newgrange.
Okay. What is that?
So it's older than Stonehenge. It's older than the pyramids. So it's this big megalithic structure. And it's perfectly aligned with I'm going to get this wrong, summer solstice or something. So one day a year or something like that, the sun shines in through the entrance.
Yeah.
And, I had to like crouch walk through that whole thing till you get to the center of the structure and you can stand up inside that. But yeah, they're people used to be a lot shorter for sure.
Okay. Were you into like ancient site? Were you into this kind of stuff before you did your channel?
Oh yeah.
Like, so you've always been into like just structures, and I don't want to say like aliens, but like, the idea that like all these things, like who fucking came up with, they knew when the summer solstice was, and they're like, you know what? We're going to build something right here. And it's going to come right through that doorway. Like why they even decide to do that?
They were, it's clear that the idea that we as people exist on this ever expanding evolutionary scale, or at least in terms of technology and different things like that, it's total bullshit. Total bullshit. I think, society in the world has had ups and downs, and possibly even gone full circle.
Oh yeah.
And I think that it's entirely possible and practical, even once you start looking at some of this stuff, that we were more advanced at a certain point, and that we've lost our own history surrounding some of this. Specifically, when you start looking at the clear examples of an ancient worldwide civilization that was clearly sharing technology and things with each other across all continents.
You know what? Like, I'd never thought of this before. What do you think about this? Back in the day, everybody probably kind of shared everything, trading and things like that. But as greed and all those things come along, people start kind of going like, nope, this is my shit. Nope, this is my technique.
Yeah.
And that might have been what is pulled us back from being as smart as we were, because people were sharing and doing more. So everybody was smarter and everybody was doing better. But then once that kind of greed comes in, what do you think?
I think, yeah, absolutely. Look, I think when civilizations get to a certain level of success, it breeds collapse.
Yeah.
Right. And you end up with generations that don't know how good they've got it. I think we are watching that happen right now. I've been around the world, in America. Americans are, they have no idea how good we have it here.
No, hey,
not a clue.
Hey, look. Do you like Amazon? How much do you like Amazon? Do you know where they don't have Amazon at? Everywhere.
We have it so good here that we have to figure out like shit to make up to be upset about, basically. So, but going back to your original question, I think at some point there was free energy, and it was worldwide, and if you exist in a world that has free energy, you're uninhibited in terms of, there's no need for things like capitalism. So all these systems, capitalism, socialism, whatever, you pick your poison, right? You can literally choose what you want to do with your life. If you had access to free energy, your time would be spent on pursuing your own passions, not working to make money to pay for energy to provide, take care of your home, do all these different things that we do with our day-to-day lives, right? It wouldn't be centered around this trade system of time for money or whatever it is. If you had access to free energy, you have people that live their entire lives pursuing one singular passion that they're completely focused on. That's how you get some of these incredible structures. I think that's how you get some of these amazing examples of things that we've built in our ancient past that baffle us today. And I think you have a society of people that are much more giving because they're not encumbered on a daily basis by struggling to make ends meet, doing things they don't want to do. I mean, how many stories do you hear on a daily basis of people who are just unsatisfied with their lives?
Well, I think, to your point, the idea of time for money. Mm-hmm. If there was a way to, like a crystal ball, and it could determine what your superpower is, what you were supposed to do, mm-hmm. right? And then you go, okay, this is what the crystal ball says your superpower is. You're going to go do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And people would be comfortable with whatever, if income wasn't the problem, they would just go do that thing.
Right.
Like, famously, I forgot, was Picasso or something like that. He never made any money his entire life. Or there's some artists, I'm going to fuck it up, but he, like, his whole career, he never made any money.
Right. And became famous after he died. But
his brother gave people money to give to him to make him think he was making money.
Yeah.
But that was his passion. That was what he was meant to put on this planet to do. There's no argument these great painters were not put there for that. But at that time, they didn't give a fuck. They weren't making any money. They were like, this is why I'm here, is because I'm supposed to be this artist.
Right.
And we've lost that because we got to make money to fucking put a roof over our head, stuff like that. So the solution is you have to find the balance between your passion or whatever you were put here to do, and then what you consume and how much that costs, and make your means fit your passion. Because I'm assuming you made a lot of money before, right? But now, you don't make, I don't know how much money you make, but like you had to take a pay cut somewhere in between there and go, well, I'm going to sacrifice this and this because I really want to go to Peru and shoot this video. Or you had to make those sacrifices and you've never been happier.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. I wake up every day and I'm thankful for the life I have now. And I don't make anywhere close to what I used to make. Nowhere close. But I also, I have things that can't be taken from me now.
Yeah.
I have experiences and memories and things that I have memories in my head that if I think too long about might bring a tear to my eye. Things that I never thought that I could see in this world or experience. I've seen sunrises that have taken my breath away. I've walked across, the Bolivian salt flats that look like a glass mirror that went on for infinity. I've been places and done things and met people that you can't put a price tag on. So whatever I paid to get there, or whatever it cost me at the time to go do that, I've never had an experience where I have thought that it wasn't worth that, what I spent on it. It was more than a fair trade.
When you, oh man, my guy Tyler, he always calls like when there's a good, there's a good interaction between two people and maybe money's not exchanged, but they both feel like they're getting what they need out of the relationship. He calls that a fair, he calls that a fair exchange.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the closest thing to a barter.
Yeah.
And I think bartering.
Well, I mean, look, if society collapsed, that's the immediate system where you return to is bartering.
And so maybe on some level, bartering back in the day was better than what we do now. Because then you would barter your talent, you know what I mean? Or you would barter maybe what you were meant to do. You're like, well, this is what I feel like I should do. I'm going to barter this skill.
I can carve you and build you these chairs you need for your home.
Right. And
I need 2 dozen eggs.
Or whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe, well,
what's the most worthless thing once society collapses? The most worthless thing if society collapsed would be money.
Right.
It's just firewood now.
Have you seen any zombie movies? Have you seen any zombie
Nobody's
shows?
carrying around a pocket full of money.
No. It's guns.
Guns and food and water and
bows and arrows and horses and carts.
There's a big movement of people, that are recognizing the value of that and where they can, getting out into their own land and becoming self-sufficient. I think everybody would love to be able to do that in some regard, have a piece of,
I think bartering is a great thing for a couple of reasons. One, it creates an interaction and exchange between two people, right? Two, gives you an opportunity to serve somebody else, right? And three, it makes you feel good to get in the flow of people and meetings. Like you said, all these experiences and everything you did, that has filled your life.
Yeah. Well, just like the first example that you shared right there, it creates community.
Yeah.
And everything these days, at least in our culture here in America, seems to be designed to remove us from community. So the valuation of things through dollars really does take away the need to understand what somebody else needs and how to provide that service to get what you need, and do it in the way that builds a relationship that's ongoing.
This is going to sound really fucking stupid, I think, but can you imagine what would the government do if we decided as a society that we were just going to barter and we didn't need money?
Well, they shut it down. They already have. You can't, you ever try to sell something on eBay? Yeah. Well, I think there's already rules against that in some regards for stuff. Like the government's still going to put a value on it and tax something. Right. So you couldn't trade me your house for I don't know, whatever.
Ain't nobody get out here for free.
They're going to tax it. It's in the exchange. They're going to get their cut. Right.
Here, I'm going to tell you 2 quick things.
Yeah.
One, controlling people works so well for every other country. Why wouldn't our country try to do it?
They do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And 2, that's the lie. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the thing. It's
the problem is
we think we have freedom and we have all this stuff. No, I mean
the problem is that Americans, we are so heavily propagandized, we don't even know it. The average person doesn't even know it. Because we are more propagandized as a culture than probably places like China. And China, their citizens know that everything that's on the TV is government funded and owned.
They know it's bullshit.
Here, we don't even recognize. You have people that will argue with you that certain organizations or businesses and things aren't actually run by the government. And they'll defend it to the, as if you're an idiot for even suggesting it. There's been ideas for years around things like we first of all, we all know certain things like internet and some of these technologies came out of programs like DARPA and different stuff that were government agencies and government funded. They didn't just fucking release that shit out of the good of their heart to the world to have. They did it to have control, right? And then you have all these industries build up around it, stuff like Facebook or Tesla or Twitter or all these different things that are a part of everybody's life nowadays. These secret government programs used to be underground, right? Roswell, different things that would get outed, MK Ultra projects and different stuff that were off the books and stuff like that. Well, what they did at some point is they just made them companies, and then they just do R&R, all their research and development, all their R&D and shit within the companies now. And those companies make profits that continue to fund these programs, and they just put puppet people like maybe a Mark Zuckerberg or a Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk, who's actually just a front person for a government company. And it's this whole dog and pony show. Which ones are those things and which ones aren't? I don't know. But I think it'd be incredibly naive to think that there hasn't been this whole industry of stuff that's been built up around things like that the government was responsible for developing, like the internet or whatever else. They haven't maintained control of that in some way.
I mean, I just want Amazon, so I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
I like Amazon too. I don't want, there's things I don't want to disappear, but like,
what's the craziest thing you've ever bought on Amazon? Do you know?
Bought?
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know. I've bought so much shit
on Amazon.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's my number one go-to, because I don't want to go try to find a store to look for this specific thing that I need.
I don't like going to any stores.
I don't like going to any stores either. That's what's so bad. I hate it. Yeah.
Well, and Nikki, she shops for everything. And I'm like, why do you even do that? Like, it's only $10 more and they'll deliver all the groceries to your house.
My girlfriend likes
totally worth it.
She likes shopping though. She likes going by herself and putting on her headphones and shopping and then like coming home. Like she likes, so I'm like, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
I saved $10.
It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I do all my food the same way. It's horrible, man. I'm so bad at it. It's like I order a DoorDash is my go-to.
Oh, DoorDash is kicking my ass lately.
Dude. Well, let me ask first.
Okay, ask me a question, and then we'll go through what the details of shit.
Okay, what I asked earlier, but what's our rating level here for the show?
What do you mean?
Like, what's allowed, what's not? Would you prefer? Uninhibited conversation, or is there like? I don't drop F-bombs.
Oh no! I mean, don't pull your penis out. But like, other than that, like, we're probably like.
Well, dude, that's the whole reason I came.
Yeah,
here.
I actually have a friend. He's going to come in. He's going to tattoo me.
Okay.
On the podcast while I interview him.
Have fun.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that tattoo is going to turn out. You
make you laugh. He's like, around, right?
What's that?
As long as you're not squirming around.
I mean, that's the real thing that people don't understand. It's like, well, you can find a good tattoo artist, but if you can't stay still, any good tattoo artist is still going to look bad.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. At a certain point, I don't know how many hours I have in now. Once I hit 40, I was like, I'm done with this pain stuff. I just start using the cream.
Oh, really?
I use the cream now. Yeah. I don't care. And I won't sit for more than 3 hours, because I've sat for 8+ hours.
Okay. And you should, no one should do that.
It's ridiculous. I sat for 8 hours on my chest.
Oh my God.
My entire chest is tattooed, and my shoulders, and then all up into here. And
dude,
it was a nightmare. And then,
who talked you into that?
Well, I was trying to get it all done quickly, and then
were you at a show or something?
No, this is years ago. And then the second worst one, my arm, and something happened with my guy, and then he was going to have to leave like the next day or something out of town, and my sister was getting married. So he couldn't do the full session in the one day. So I went in one day that evening and had like 4 hours of work done, and then went back the very next day.
Oh my God.
And sat for another 4 hours. The next day, my arm was swollen up. Obviously, when you go around your arm, it puffs up, and had to go back over all that had been done. That was a nightmare because I needed it to be done. He was going to be gone for like a month or two, and we had wedding pictures and stuff, and I wanted it to be finished. And I think that after that one, I was like, yeah, we're just going to do the Korean thing.
Yeah, bro.
I think, I don't know, I was somewhere around like 35 or something, and maybe I got a few more, but once I hit 40, it was like the pain tolerance was just like, I'm not about this anymore.
Well, okay, for someone that doesn't have like big or a lot of tattoos, like when you get tattooed, the next day is probably the worst day because your skin's really inflamed. It's it's already, it's kind of trying to scab over, blah blah blah. And so to go back like the next, like,
it was,
if I had your experience, I'd be using tattoo cream too.
Yeah, it was horrible.
You know what I mean? But like, I don't do shit like that.
Yeah, it was bad. Not fun. So yeah, now everything you see over here are one session, sit down,
little pieces.
Yeah.
Well, you're running out of room. You're running out of room.
I mean, I've still got stuff from this art, but I've gotten much more selective about stuff than some of my other work. But 3 hours now. I'm done. I don't know. Some people are hugely focused and they're going to get everything done in a specific amount of time. But
well, I remember the first tattoo I got that wasn't finished in one session. And at that time I was OCD enough that I was like, God damn, this fucking sucks.
Not having it done.
Not having it done.
Yeah.
But then, like I did my whole back.
Yeah.
And you can't do that really all in one session. So I had to do it in parts. And then I think that's what really broke me of that idea that you had to do it all at one time.
Yeah.
I think it's always the fear that that either A, you'll run out of money and won't be able to finish it, or B, your tattoo artist will take off and like you're like, who's gonna finish it? But I think those are both legitimate, you know what I mean?
Yeah, those are legitimate concerns, I think.
You ever try to track down a tattoo artist? Dude, I'm not surprised they don't rob more banks because they're so hard to catch.
Seriously, some of those guys are all over the place. My guy that I go to now, Justin at Resurrection Tattoo here in Austin, badass, total badass, amazing line work. Yeah, he took over the shop and owns that shop now. So I don't think he's going anywhere. I think we're good.
Well, so my main guy now, shout out to Donnie. He was working here in Austin, but then he partnered in on a shop in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And so I just see him whenever he comes back to town. But talk about a tattoo artist that's always there, always on time, like ready to go. Donnie's always ready to go.
Totally professional.
You never have to look for him.
Yeah,
or ask somebody in the shop where he's at.
That's a good quality to have in your tattoo artist, right?
That you can find him.
I can't imagine, somebody. I got tattooed by a chick I was dating, and then we broke up. And all this, I still need to kind of cover up. It's total garbage.
Did she do that?
Yeah.
I got, how about this? My ex-wife tattooed me.
Yeah.
And she's not a tattoo artist.
Go see a reputable tattoo artist. Don't let girlfriends or ex-wives tattoo you. I think there's a piece of, take that with you too.
Oh man, I could go deep on this, but it was a period in time. Let's make it real. It was a really great gift to allow someone to do something like that to me permanently.
Yeah. And
it was really cool and special for her at the time when we did it and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty positive memory.
Well, I guess if you have like, and I've heard that a lot of people, are pretty civil with each other after they break up and end relationships, but most of mine are like, I never want to see you again.
Fair then.
I mean, with tattoos, it's stuck with you forever. I mean, and that's kind of, some of the stuff that we're talking about earlier before we, kind of started recording was, dude, stick with, what works for you. Like, it's kind of your whole message a lot of the time here is be your genuine, authentic self, right? Follow, don't do the trendy thing. Pick the thing that you like. We all have stuff that we individually like. Don't be afraid of owning that,
Well, I'm mind blown how different people say they are. And then when you look at their social media, it looks like everybody else's.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, how different are you? Because my social media, I'm just throwing shit at you. Like
Yeah.
I'm like what I want, what I like. You know what I mean? I know I'm not hitting the algorithm. I know I'm not doing that. I get like 5 likes on everything I post. Like I don't even care. Like it says something about me and who I am, and that's what I want it to be. And that's what people should strive for their social media to be. It should be a good representation of who you are.
Well,
you know?
I think, and sorry to
No, go ahead.
Nicotine.
Hey.
But the funny thing is like you got to just keep going until you hit your mark, and your mark might be different than somebody else's. There's 8 billion people in this world. There's an audience for everyone. You just have to find them, and it takes time. And I think, I've had videos that are out that have been out for years that weren't doing shit. And then all of a sudden somebody saw it and retweeted something or posted it or whatever, and it blew up. So I've had videos that have set and done nothing for like 5 years, and then all of a sudden they take off. You just got to keep putting the content out and not worry about the results. But if you're happy doing it, right? I think, I had no idea that I'd be doing what I'm doing now when, even 10 years ago, and I'm not where I want to be, right? There's a goal. I've definitely moved down that track, but
once you hit a goal, you got to set a new one, right?
Set a new one.
I mean,
but I wake up every day and I'm thankful that I get to do what I do, and I'm happy, and I wasn't before. So can you put a price tag on that? I don't think so. Like, the work that I used to do was so unfulfilling. It was just for money. It was trading time for money. I worked in sales. And now, it's a different game when you're pursuing something that you're passionate about. It's totally different. It's you don't always get the results right away. That's a trade-off. When you work a job, you're trading your time and energy and your focus for instantaneous returns, money, usually, right? But if you're creating something you're passionate about, it's like we were just talking about, you have to find that audience, and it just takes time. So the results, they're not instantaneous, and it takes a while. So you just have to be patient and just keep grinding it out. Most people don't keep grinding it out because most people are so used to that instantaneous return. Most people are also used to, safety and security, having safety and security, which is another thing that you trade for money and different things like that. And I don't know, it's hard, and it's hard not to sometimes tie a sense of how well you're doing into your numbers.
Self-worth.
Yeah. I still look every day. I pick this thing up every day. I open it just like this. I come over here and I look. I hit refresh and I go, oh, okay, I'm at this many subs now. It's hard not to do. I still look every day. But I'm doing better at not being attached to that in terms of like internalizing that as to whether I'm doing good or not.
It's especially in the beginning, right?
Oh, it's really hard in the beginning. I mean, I don't think I hit 1,000 subs on my channel until like 2 years in. Might have been longer.
I mean, mine's going to be longer, but dude, I mean, but
yeah, it could have been 3 years. But you hit these
things happen, right? Yeah. That kind of push you along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And sometimes they happen big, and then that won't last forever either. So the slow times don't last forever if you keep at it. But then the good times too, when the ball starts rolling. It took us a while to get here and do this because I had a bunch going on that I had been working a long time to try to make happen, and stuff started happening and it took off, but then it just slowed way the hell down. What did that feel like? It was like, oh shit, like I thought it was going to keep going, right? Like everybody was going to see this shit and it would just blow up, and it did blow up. I'm way beyond what I had been before, and it was great. in terms of the channel and the growth and the size and stuff, but it's slowed way down. So you got to readjust to that and be like, okay, there's no real rhyme or reason to it sometimes. So
Internet and social media is a funny place. Weird. It's like, sometimes one of your friends will send you a meme that you saw like 2 years ago. And they're like, hey, did you see this? You're like, yep, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you talk about like there's a video that it's been on your channel for like 5 years. And then all of a sudden it just explodes because one person like shares it. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I just keep putting out content thinking like, well, the more choices I give somebody, the better chance it is that someone might like my video and that it gets some sort of traction and goes in some sort of direction. But if I'm not putting out content, it's definitely not going to happen.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
I mean, it sounds so easy to just say it like that, but then I'm sure you had days in the beginning where you're just like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, why am I busting my ass so hard? And then, like you said, something would come along that would kind of go, oh, my friend's watching this, or this person liked it, or this person followed me. You're like, okay, it's the little push I need. And then, you keep going. And then was that your experience?
Yeah, I think things changed for me when I stopped focusing on the numbers and started focusing on relationships, building relationships.
Yeah.
So I stopped. So
there's enough room for everybody.
Right. More than enough room.
There's more than enough.
It doesn't need to be any competition. And when I first started, I knew that I couldn't get the best footage. I wasn't good enough. I didn't have enough experience, I also knew that people weren't going to listen to me because my channel wasn't big enough. I hadn't made a name for myself. I was just some voice out there, right? But I knew that I could go to places that nobody else had been. There's nothing stopping anybody from doing that. And so that's what I did is I went and I got footage that no one else had. And immediately within the first year or so, or maybe 2 years, I started getting hit up by studios like Ancient Aliens and some places wanting to buy footage. And a Netflix Queer Eye for the Straight Guy bought footage and put it on their Austin episode, some of my drone footage. Stuff like that started happening. But nothing was really happening with the channel in terms of growth. But I kind of had this focus on trying to get the best deal out of those scenarios when they wanted the footage. I knew that I was the only person in the world that had some of this footage because of these places that I went to. So I was putting a value on it and a value on the interaction. And some of those deals fell apart because I wasn't looking at it right. And when they came back, and they did, I stopped worrying about what I was getting out of the deal. Because like I said, I came from the sales background, right? So I'm trying to work this deal. So I stopped worrying about working the deal and just start with building a relationship with this footage, this one thing that if it gets on a show is big enough, if that's all that happens for me right now, maybe that's a thing. And maybe this relationship with this person turns into something later. And that's what I found ended up happening is once I started focusing on the relationships with people, that things started happening because now I had people in my life that I was building relationships, even if it was just professionally, to afford more opportunities. And so you really got to take the numbers out of the game and just keep focusing on the direction that you're heading. If you can see something clearly and you know that you're going after something that you want to do, just keep doing that. And then be open to collaborating, working with other people and stuff like that. And the opportunities will start presenting themselves over time. Say yes to everything for a while, even if there's no immediate payoff, walking away from a job that was paying really well, starting that channel, learning this whole process, and the last 5 years traveling and doing all this stuff it's been an interesting ride. Like, especially in terms of personal growth, a lot of stuff that's happened. I didn't plan for or expect out of it. But I've loved every second of it. Yeah.
How you're sober?
Yeah, pretty much. I like to cut loose every once in a while.
Okay. But did you abuse drugs and drinking before?
Big time.
Okay. Was there any correlation with like the focus and the feelings around starting the channel and then cutting back your drinking and drugs? Was there any connection to that?
Good question. No, yeah, I guess so. I hadn't, I don't know if I've given it as much thought, but yeah, I had to be high just to make it through a day at work at the end where I was at. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was full blown heroin user.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were doing heroin before you would go to work?
And all day, go to the bathroom and I'd shoot up. I go to my truck and I'd shoot up. Yeah, it was ugly. And, I walked this line of like owning it completely because I had money. So I was real clean, organized. If you came over to my house, you'd never know. It wasn't like I was just some junky house.
We're not
right?
going to find your heroin.
You're not gonna, yeah. And it's not going to be ugly. There was never, I wasn't. And so, it's just like this mental thing that I wasn't like some junkie or whatever, but yeah, I had to be high every day at work. That's how miserable I was. I knew that job was killing me because I was so unsatisfied with my life and where it was going. I just I felt like I was made for more. And then trading my time for money in that scenario. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying working a job, trading your time for money is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. There's all sorts of reasons why that's a good thing. For me, it was this job and why it was so unfulfilling. And, when I quit and I made the decision to quit, I had this epiphany moment where one day I looked in the mirror and I said out loud to myself in the mirror, like, you're a junkie. And it was like, once I admitted that to myself, change happened. And I made the decision to quit the job. I quit the job and I was sober in 2 weeks. I just quit using. And don't get me wrong, for several years, there was ups and downs. But I was sober in 2 weeks after I quit that job. And it put me on this path to where I'm at now. And I feel happy, and which I didn't have before. I wake up and I'm excited to create, do things.
Okay, so I've stole it from somebody else, but I have this theory. There are consumers and creators.
Yeah.
Right. So the more you become a creator, have you become less of a consumer of things? And there's already heroin. You've stopped consuming heroin. So that's a start, right?
Right.
But I wonder if because I find the more I create, the less I consume.
I'd love to say yeah, but
You have like a gnarly Beanie Baby collection or what? You're like, I have some rare Beanie Babies.
Yeah. I tend to throw money at certain things. Like, it's not like I'm irresponsible. I'm actually great at saving money. Saving money is what has allowed me to walk away from that job.
Sure.
And then start the channel and do what I've been doing for years. Right. I saved a lot of money while other guys were buying fancy cars and doing different stuff. I wasn't doing any of that. I was saving money and spending it on dope.
Well, I was going to say, have you ever thought about how much money you would have had if you wouldn't have had dope?
I knew how much I had. It's like a $12,000 a month habit at the end.
God damn.
And that puts things in perspective.
Fuck yeah.
When you recognize that this is not sustainable. I did the math and it was like, I don't remember how much time exactly, but I did the math and I was like, I have this much time left before the game's over anyways. Why don't you just do what you have to do? Like fucking nut up, cut this shit out, make the changes. Who cares at this point? You're going to be dead or out of money and on the street. So just quit the job. Just quit everything that you don't like doing. It doesn't matter anymore. It can't get any worse. I mean, it can, but just do it now before it's forced on me. Right. My consumerism. No, I guess it has. No, it hasn't.
Well, what are you into? Like,
Because I still buy shit. I just
You into
impulse buy
guitars?
shit off
Like-
like Instagram. Like, so I try to rein
okay,
that in a bit.
let me
Yeah.
throw it to you like this. You watch a lot of TV.
No,
So did you watch a lot of TV before?
no.
Oh, you didn't?
Mm-mm. YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
You watched a lot of YouTube before?
Yeah.
Would you? Okay, I never thought about this. I don't watch very much YouTube, but like watching YouTube has got to give you some sort of idea of what you need to do to be on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was, I'd spend hours watching some of this stuff, these that are now in my genre of stuff that I release.
You're learning, right?
It was like, years and years of, learning, studying, all that. And what's funny is I don't watch any of it anymore. I mean,
Your stuff or other stuff?
Other stuff, yeah.
Well, you're too busy making your stuff.
I am, yeah.
Less of a consumer.
That's true. Yeah. So I don't watch any of the stuff that's going on.
You're too busy making stuff
in my space. Yeah. Or what people are doing.
I've said this before. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. You know what I mean? Like, I'll listen to podcasts every once in a while when I'm in the mood for it.
Yeah.
But I'm listening for different reasons, in the sense of like, I'm listening of like how they interview, how they talk to them, how they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like studying like YouTube,
Yeah.
But I don't listen to podcasts. And people send me podcasts all the time. Like, you heard this one? You heard this one? I'm like, man, I'm too busy trying to make this one.
It takes too much time.
Yeah. But like, I've also found like I don't do that with TV anymore. Like, I stopped buying sneakers, which is like just a crazy thought.
I noticed the wall.
Well, even though, there's, hey, and that's not even like all of them. Like, those are the ones those are the ones for sale, dude. Mine are like upstairs. Like that's
so you're a sneakerhead.
Oh, like big time. Like, here, we'll go through the shoe show, even though so this is the Jordan 4, What the 4.
Okay.
And so it's What the 4 because they took all the pieces from a bunch of different Jordan 4s and they put them on the shoe. So you notice they're like all different colors and different, the tongue's different, stuff like that. So it's called What the 4. I thought that was appropriate for you, like cool, what the 4, you know what I mean? Anyways, but yeah, like, so, but I've noticed that like I really stopped buying sneakers. Like now also my daughter started going to school. A Montessori school. Yeah. You get to look forward to that kind of stuff and those kind of bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say that takes away a bit of your extra spending money.
But you know what? Like, it's never not.
I wouldn't imagine that's a hard trade, though.
No.
Yeah.
No. The hardest thing is like, I need to sell sneakers faster. That's the hardest. I need to get rid of them faster. You know what I mean?
What are you doing? Facebook Marketplace? Or?
No, man. Like, I sell on all the like sneaker apps and stuff.
God, I was about to say, there's got to be a sneaker app.
Oh, dude, there's sneaker apps for trading. There's sneaker apps for selling. There's sneaker apps for selling used shoes. There's eBay got into the sneaker game. So like,
that's wild.
I mean, this whole sneaker thing,
a whole subculture.
It's crazy. Well, like, are you familiar with like Houston rap music? Like,
dude, you were playing and then here. And I was like, hell yeah. Okay. I came in here, I was doing something. You had Mike Jones going. And I was
we could have a whole nother conversation. Yeah. Anyway, but Houston rap used to be like kind of a subculture. Like it was only like really kids in the South that kind of really knew about Houston rap. And then, people get famous and it goes across and then it kind of explodes. But, like sneakers was kind of like that. It was kind of underground. And then when the pandemic happened, it kind of like nobody has things to do, and it just kind of exploded into this weird thing
or whatever. Well, for some people,
it got too famous. It got too big. It got too, whatever it is. It became Tickle Me Elmo, where everybody wants it.
God, I remember those days.
It ruined it. It ruined sneakers. So.
Well, it's. Yeah,
don't get in the sneaker game. Just don't. No, there's nothing to be said there.
Yeah, anytime something gets too big, it gets played out, right? It's lost its uniqueness or its value, right, or whatever. Especially if it's something you enjoy and you're like a part of it before it's big. Well,
like in talking, like going back to like YouTube pages and subcultures and things like that, and the amount of space, like. There is plenty of space to have a big enough audience for you to have it to make an income and not be Joe Rogan. There's so much space between the person that starts and, you know, we'll say one of the biggest podcasters there is. I mean, tons of space, unique space that you could develop on your own and have your own shtick of stuff. I mean, you know, you took a picture with an armadillo a while ago, you know?
Yeah. Isn't it weird that that's the bar that we set for ourselves?
Well,
it's the most unattainable thing possible. Like, you know, you're making an excellent point. Like to make a living doing something, you don't have to be the most popular person, famous person on the planet like Joe Rogan. You just need to carve out there are numbers that you need to hit to make a living, but it's not 50 million people or 100 million people, whatever, you know.
It's not even close.
No, not even close.
You know what I mean? Like, I read a book about podcasting, but one of the things he said was, you know, there are like little niche like podcasts, and they can make a really good living having their little niche of people that like this one certain thing that like only a certain amount of people like. There's plenty of people like, I don't think people understand how valuable the internet can actually be if you use it for what it's for, as like work and business and not pleasure and fucking scrolling, right? Like you use it as a tool,
right?
That like you have access to the entire fucking world to like your shit. It isn't like in 1988,
right?
When like only the people in your hometown could like your shit because no one knew what was outside of that.
You're stuck in one location or something, right?
Now you have the whole world.
Yeah. Amazing.
You know, you said something a while ago when we were talking about like when you started to do your channel, you were like, okay, I'm just going to go locations that people don't go. That was your sole idea, right? I have a friend. His name is Tyler. He owns this place called Pizza Pizza in Asheville, North Carolina. Go check it out. But the whole shtick of the place is the pizzas are just fucking big.
Okay.
Like they literally don't fit in your car door. You have to turn them sideways. It's like put them in. That's awesome. That's the whole thing, right? But he found a unique niche. You found a unique niche in going like, hey, I'm going to go these places no one else would go. If you want something to be successful, if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you got to fight everybody fucking else.
Right.
If you find something very unique in that genre, you can carve your own path. It's a lonelier path. You're going to be by yourself a lot doing shit because but when you get to the end of that path, there's, in my opinion, a higher chance of success.
Yeah. I
mean, I feel like you've proved that. Yeah.
The place that I picked out was China, Yangshan Quarry and Longyu Caves. Both have a lot of mystery around them. Longyu Caves, there's like 24 caves. They don't know when they were created or what they were created for. They've never found the excavated dirt. It has machining marks that are similar to other ancient sites around the world. It's a cool place. And Yangshan Quarry is probably one of the most amazing quarries on the planet with all sorts of examples of like ancient megalithic construction and stuff, nubs, cut marks, all sorts of stuff. So there's stuff up at the time. There were videos up, but there were only pictures. And I knew that if I went over there and I videotaped these places and droned them, I'd have something. And I did that and nothing happened, but I believed that I knew that it would eventually. And now, 3 weeks ago, Joe Rogan's tweeting my video. He was watching my video on his show. So, and, I wake up one day and everybody's texting me, like Joe Rogan's watching your video and somebody made a short out of it. Here's this and here's that. And that, of course, now that video is just blown up and it's just taken off. If you believe in something, I think it will happen. You just have to be patient sometimes. If you have a vision and you can see clearly that it's going to work, you see a path, take it. And then sometimes you have to just let go and let it do its thing.
Very rarely is shit going to happen on your timeline. You know what I mean? And I mean that in the sense of like, you could put out one video and it could go viral. The problem there is you have no content to back it up, right? Or you could put out a shit ton of videos for a really long time and then have something go viral, but you really have no control of when that really happens. other than just putting shit out.
And you don't have control over other people either. Like, you know, one of the best things that I've done recently is I still engage with people who leave comments on the channel, but not like I used to. I used to try to respond to every single comment. First of all, I just can't do that anymore. I don't have the time. But secondly, people are fucking assholes, man. They can really be assholes. And sometimes people like your shit and sometimes they don't. And I'm all for constructive criticism, but the internet's a place where, you know,
keyboard thugs,
man, people, you know, get away with talking a lot of shit because they've never been punched in the mouth before, you know? Like,
hey, okay, you want me to tell you my thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Okay. I am letting you know right now, anytime, I'll save this video. Anytime anybody wants to be a dickhead on my channel, on my Instagram or whatever, you will be motherfucking blocked right away.
Yeah.
All right. Because I don't have time for that shit in my life. I got better things to do than now. I'm talking.
I think it's good.
If someone gets constructive criticism,
yeah, there's a difference though.
Yeah, like if you're just like, or they're just like, I don't like this video, I don't like what you represented there, blah blah. I don't even mind that. But if you're just like, hey, you're a fucking loser, and your shit fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll fucking leave then. Like, oh, I'll help you. Boop, kick you right out the door and block you on the way out. You know what I mean?
I had a problem with that. That was hard for me.
Blocking people?
Yeah, it was hard for me for some reason.
Not hard at all.
I wanted to create the space where anybody could say whatever they wanted, but I realized that, you know, there's people out there that are going to take advantage of that. And there's some people that are just want to be mean. Now, I used to try to, even when people were ugly like that, try to respond in a positive way and flip it around. And I did get some great results where people came back and they were like, hey man, I was kind of ugly there in that first one. Sorry. Whatever. But a lot of times people are just, especially if they come across your channel and like blast stuff across multiple videos just for the sake of being dicks. Once I started doing that, really what kicked it off was, you know, when the channel started growing and, you know, I don't know, it's like 1 out of every 100 comments, maybe not even that, but those comments sure stick out more than the other ones, you know? They grab your attention sometimes.
Well, because they're the only person being an asshole.
Yeah. Well, once I started doing that, blocking people that were overtly negative just for the sake of being negative, right? And ugly. Yeah, it felt good. And I knew immediately like that's the right thing to do.
Well, okay. So this is your work that you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I don't want to inhibit anybody's ability to leave a comment or share their opinion if they don't agree with me.
Hey, I don't want to block you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. But like, I'm also not on your shit going like, hey, you're a fucking dick. You know what I mean? So like, well, just hey, I'm trying to build.
They never have anything. They never have anything that they're contributing. That's the issue.
I know.
It's not like you could go back and return in kind because they're not contributing. So the only thing that you're giving is negativity. It's 9 times out of 10, those people. It's not like they have their own channel or they're putting in the work or doing anything that contributes to their point of view. They're just coming in and being an asshole.
Yeah.
So yeah, once you know, start thinking about it like that, it became a non-issue to be like, yeah, this person, bye.
I will say I do this. If someone does leave a negative comment, like, you know, if that's their first one or whatever, a lot of times I'll just like heart it or like it, and that's it.
I've done that before too. That's just sometimes it pisses them off. I mean, it's almost like killing with kindness,
that's
right?
That's the best.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, I am now confirming I'm going to block you. Yes, you've just confirmed you're getting blocked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, absolutely. Fucking hey.
The heart or agreeing with them.
Oh man, it's the best.
Throws them
like
off.
I had somebody text me in a DM one time, and like every comment they made was like passive aggressive.
Yeah.
In like a new way, you know what I mean? Like, well, you know, I bet you never thought of this. And I was like, heart. And then it was like, well, do you think that's going to work? And I was like, heart. You know what I mean? And like, I just wouldn't like, you know, and man, it was, there's part of me that probably it wasn't good, but it felt good.
I think sometimes you have to give yourself permission to do stuff like that too. I don't, you know, It's like you said, you're putting all this energy and time into creating something, right?
You don't get to just come in and fuck up my
Right.
shit.
And here's the thing, it's free too. It's not like you're paying to watch this shit. If you don't like it, just go watch something else. Like, you have the entire internet and all of YouTube with billions of videos out that you can select from. Like, I really got some good advice from, I partnered with, and that was another thing that I was doing. I was partnering with another YouTuber when we were trying to first connect. I was doing this video, giving him this footage, this Jimmy Corsetti with Bright Insight. He's got 1.6 million followers. And there were some things as we developed kind of like our relationship and talking and stuff that he provided some valuable insight. And he was the one that encouraged me to, like, dude, block people. And I can't even imagine if you had that many followers or that big of a channel, the type of negativity that you receive on a daily, I watch his posts and different things, and it doesn't matter what he tweets out. It does not matter what he tweets out.
Somebody.
Or what video he puts out. There is going to be X amount of people that instantly jump on whatever he posts about and just start talking shit, and, when you put yourself out there, you kind of become this lightning rod for good or bad energy, But
okay. Would you categorize yourself as a pretty positive person?
I think so. Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think maybe you've always been a positive person because you were doing heroin at work, right? Okay. So, do you find that almost sometimes you trying to be a positive person, like, just pisses people off, like where they're just irritated with you just being like nice or like positive? Cause I feel like sometimes it's just like who I am just irritates people because I just try to be as nice as I possibly can all the time. No, that wasn't your experience.
Yeah, man. I think the world, this space that we're talking about, that we're inhabiting on social media and the internet it's first of all, it's not real life, right?
Absolutely.
Secondly, it's created this environment that thrives on negativity, bad news, shocking stuff, things that I don't think build up people individually or society a lot of times. So whether it's just the teenage kid whose feed is consistently bombarded with chicks shaking their asses around or whatever, or you're just constantly seeing, if you're just tuned in or whatever your algorithm is, to just constant bad things and horrible things happening around the world. Like, I think when people encounter other people in real life, especially who are genuinely trying to be the best versions of themselves and be good, sometimes it's
unbelievable.
And they maybe think that you're being inauthentic.
Yeah.
And
because they don't experience that. Like online, they don't experience that a lot online.
And then if you're in any kind of public forum, so if you're putting out content and you're on YouTube or you're maybe have a large social media following or something, right? God forbid you make a mistake.
Fucking A.
Right? So, you're navigating this space of, trying to be the best person that you can, be your best version, do good, work hard, put out great content. You're busting your ass. You're doing all this, whatever it is, right? Not even to speak about whatever kind of personal issues and troubles that you've overcome that you may still have to deal with, whatever life's throwing at you at the time, and people want people to be perfect. It's like, if they look up to you and you mess up, it's like, fuck you for some reason, instead of providing a little grace. I think one of the best things that you can do is allow people to just be imperfect and make mistakes and apologize, right? So if somebody makes a mistake, give them a chance to correct it.
You know who every time I think about like this kind of particular thing, the first person that comes to my mind is Michael Vick every single time. Because, so Michael Vick did a horrible thing by fighting these dogs. Mm-hmm. Okay. But since then, he's like done all these talks and opened all these shelters and like done all this positive stuff. So what do you, the guy served time? What else do you want him to do?
Yeah.
And there's still people that are probably like, fuck Michael Vick. And
Sure.
I'm like, man,
Yeah.
like he was a young guy, made a mistake. Is he not allowed to make a mistake? It just fucking sucks that it was so public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, I've watched some of those interviews from back in the day, and he doesn't seem like the same person.
No.
And so
It's like he doesn't carry that. It's almost like he had anger maybe about like where, you know, I think he grew up in a really kind of shitty place.
Yeah.
And so then
you do what you know.
yeah. And so then when those kinds of things happen, you go, well, fuck, man. Like I am a lucky guy. Like I need to be more appreciative. And it felt like he changed. I mean, what else more do you want from a guy, you know?
You know, and here's something I think people rarely recognize is that life has this interesting way of taking people that have made the biggest mistakes in a certain space or area or whatever, and using them to connect with other people that are dealing with the same thing. So how much easier it is for me to connect to somebody who's going through something like trying to get off heroin than it would be for somebody who's just talking to them about it, but has never experienced it.
Right.
Right. So if I have to say my apologies and mistakes for the things that I did when I was using or whatever, I was pretty, kind of I'm an isolator, like, you know, so it's not like I was out there doing crazy shit, but, you know, God or whatever it is that you believe in, or however you think that works, takes some of what used to be our greatest weaknesses and turns it into our biggest strengths if we use it correctly. It's maybe an ability to connect with people and make a difference in their life. Maybe there's somebody that's going through something, the same type of scenario. And through that story of Michael Vick over the years, they see now that that maybe it's not great to surround themselves with that environment, or maybe they have an ability to do something, or maybe they were inspired by that to do something or make a change. Right. So
Right.
That's why it's important to allow people to make change and forgive them, because it can lead to some of the best changes and those kinds of moments. So
You don't want people to stay the same.
no,
Like
yeah.
you don't want that for anyone.
Well, generally the people that hold grudges forever, especially against people they don't even know, have their own shit going on.
Sure.
You know,
I mean, yeah, that's a no-brainer, right?
right.
Right.
So
I mean, a big percentage of whatever the fuck's going on most of what's going on in your life is your fault
yeah.
in a good way or in a bad way. You know what I mean? But like, it's your life. So if shit's going sideways, I don't know, maybe want to analyze that behavior and see maybe there's something you're doing like heroin
It's so
that's fucking your shit up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but you had, like an example, you had to make that observation. No one knew you were doing heroin, so no one else is gonna make that observation for you.
right.
You know?
Yeah. So if you've gone through something and overcome something, you know, you can become one of your biggest strengths if you let it. And taking responsibility for things is something that we are sorely lacking in our culture nowadays.
Okay, back to real quickly to social media. I love that people go through tough shit. All right. But I feel like on your social media, instead of posting about the tough shit you went through, just do like really positive shit because you have found like this new and better life. And don't worry about telling your story so much. You know what I mean? Like, as an example, you don't have to tell your story of your past to have a positive effect on people now.
Yeah, I think
the event that happened to you made you positive, and now you have that positive effect. If someone asks, or if it's relatable to the story, or, you know, like obviously you could help in that scenario, but you only got to tell everybody. And I feel like on social media, it's a lot of like, man, let me tell you about this hard thing I went through and how I overcome it. And it's like, well,
if it's relevant.
Right. But it's not, a lot of times I don't feel like it's relevant to just the random ass internet.
Right.
It's like, no one asked you, like, I'm being a ass. No one asked you about your losses that you've took in your life and to post it on the internet. Nobody asked. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe if I ask in person, you know.
I think you have to use, you know, those things if you're using stuff for good or whatever, like an experience or whatever. You know, what's the intention behind it? Because if you're just posting it to like be like, I did this, you know, or whatever, that's one thing. But if you see somebody that's like making a really sad post and talking about their struggles, well, you have an opportunity to share something with them right there that might help. Yeah. That's different than you just being like, oh, I did this. And
well, and I think, I don't know, a lot of times, man, okay, this will be a toughie. So someone posts something that is concerning online.
Yeah.
Right. Do you feel like on some level you can tell the difference between someone that maybe is really needing some help, is crying out for help, and maybe someone that is looking for validation or attention? Do you feel like you can discern between the two? I feel like sometimes, like one of my attorney brothers on his Facebook wall just wrote like, I fucked up. And I was like, either he got hacked or shit went sideways, because nobody just writes, I fucked up on their Facebook wall. You know what I mean?
I think if somebody's saying something very serious about like hurting themselves or something like that, I think you need to take it seriously. I think even if it seems like that
is the proper thing to do.
You know, one of my close friends killed himself. I think we're 5 or 6 years now, maybe, or maybe it's 7 or 8. But he'd been talking about it forever because his dad killed himself when he was younger. And we'd all heard him say it, you know, our whole lives. So at a certain point, you don't know how seriously to take it anymore, right? It's been going on for 30 years. And he called me at work, and I ignored the phone call that day.
Dang.
And he went inside and blew his head off with the shotgun. I don't know how much energy you should take those things always seriously, I think.
Yes.
But how much can you do when something's been going on for so long? If somebody's unwilling to take any initiative on their end to maybe redirect their thought processes and things like that. So I guess I'm saying you can't hold yourself responsible for somebody else's decision like that, but it also, and it's unrealistic to think that if somebody's in a scenario that you can drop everything that you're doing every time somebody's going through something and just leave work, or you know, quit whatever you're doing, or, you know, if you're out of state, hop on a flight and come back. Like what, you know, but when people are reaching out for help and asking for help, I think you start from a place of taking that seriously. And then maybe they are just making a cry for help. But if you're wrong, that's a big one, right? And sometimes people just need to hear that other people care. So I have a lot of empathy for people that do those posts that are clearly for attention, right? You can tell.
Yeah.
We know people that you see it.
Well, it kind of feels a certain way sometimes. And, you know, again, you want to take every post seriously if it feels like somebody's kind of, but there are, we'll say that sometimes maybe people have multiple posts like this. Yeah. And so like, it's again, like you said, there's these multiple cries. So it's like, well, how serious do I take this?
Sometimes people are making posts like that just because they need a confidence boost or whatever.
Sure.
But it costs us nothing to give it to them.
That's true too.
And so, you know, there's a difference between the girl asking for validation. Do I look pretty in this dress that posts every day? Right.
Yeah.
As the person that's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. You know? And they post it a lot because you see it a lot. It just feels like it's a cry for attention, but It is a cry for attention. So even if there's not a full willingness to follow through with the act, they'd need help, I think.
Yeah.
So, or they wouldn't be posting it publicly over and over again.
Sure.
So, it's, you don't want to feed the beast either. So I don't know, because you don't want to create a habit of where they just do that every time. It's like it's like junk food,
Yeah.
It never fills them up.
It was dopamine, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. To being there for those types of people, or for like interacting on the right way all the time. I think if you're close enough to that person, maybe you ask them like, hey, what's going on? You've been posting this stuff all the time. But if it's just some random person on Facebook that you happen to like somehow ended up following each other, but you don't even know them and they live on the other side of the country, I don't know how much you're supposed to be involved in that.
Right.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe it's a.
Did you carry around any guilt around not answering that phone call?
Oh yeah, still.
Do you?
Yeah, I wonder. Like if I'd answered the phone that day, I was playing a fucking video game on my phone. I could have answered the phone. I sat there and looked at it, and I was playing a video game. I was fucking off at work. I was like, I'll call him later. Yeah.
But I mean, again, to what you said, you have no idea if that would have made a difference or not. You know what I mean?
He was going through a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And, he was on drugs. His mind wasn't exactly where it should be, for sure. But yeah, I don't know if I'd answered the phone, if I might have made a difference, because I don't know what he would have shared with me. I don't know if he would have told me, because it sounded like it was a very split-second decision that he made.
So, yeah, I mean,
and
he could have made that decision after. He could have been calling you about something totally different, and made that decision after that phone call, not correlating the two together.
Mm-hmm. I was selling drugs back then. We were operating in the same sphere of stuff, so I just kind of thought it was something I could just deal with later.
Did you, okay. I don't want to out like what he did, but, did you continue to abuse stuff like after that whole event? Oh yeah. Yeah. Did it get worse?
How much worse could it get?
Well, I don't
banging heroin and
I have no idea. I have never done a drug as heavy as heroin. So like
I've done everything on the planet. I started using drugs when I was, I don't know, about 14, and loved it. It was a escape for me. And I had my off and on times. I had another friend die when I was a teenager. He overdosed, and like my best friend at the time. And that was impactful. And I saw myself going down the same path, and my buddy did too. And so we joined the military. I was sober for the most part, except drinking. I joined the infantry, so it's pretty rowdy.
Yeah.
It's just all dudes. And, we get pretty wasted on the weekends overseas and stuff. But so I had periods of times where I wasn't as heavy into drugs, but it's been a pretty consistent part of my life for, quite a bit of it, the majority of it, from 14 till about somewhere in there around 35 or so. Yeah. Good 20-year run.
Everybody has to find their own path, how to get to the end. Some people's, you could say, is more messy or different or whatever.
Yeah.
But hopefully everybody gets to the end where they're taking care of themselves and taking care of others. You know what I mean? It's not going to be linear for everybody. I feel like,
I don't think there's a straight path. We make mistakes.
There's not. There's not. Like,
nah.
Like even the biggest movie stars, their path wasn't straight.
Yeah. And people that, I get it. People that come from a good home and have a loving family and have had opportunities and stuff, they still have their own things they go through. Yeah. I would just say that anybody that, might struggle with drugs or alcohol or different stuff, it's so much better on the other side. It's so much better being sober and accomplishing things, having a sense of self-worth, feeling like you have value,
Not feeling like shit.
not feeling like shit, having a purpose, having a life with intention. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And the drugs are, you know, they're a black hole, man. They're a hole. And it feels good when you're in there, but there aren't a whole lot of drug abuse and addiction and stuff. There are only X amount of pathways off that, right? Things that you can accomplish. And there's high functioning drug users and alcoholics, high functioning, but for how long, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, being sober, creating something, being successful, being relatively healthy.
Well, I think relatively healthy is a good place to be.
Sure.
Like I'm not gonna lie. When I was like, well, hey, what do you want to eat and drink? And you're like, well, I'll take that pizza. I'm down with. But then you were like, Coke, and I was like, Coke,
bro. I am on a bad kick right now. Coke is not something I usually drink ever, but as you saw, I'm also smoking right now too. Cigarettes. I do this boat party every year. I started, this is the 10th year. I throw this big boat party every year for my dog's birthday.
Nice.
And she passed away on like the 3rd year or whatever. And I just kept it going.
Sweet.
And, that's my like go hard weekend of the year. And, my mistake is I've been enjoying cigars for the last couple months occasionally. And then, I'm drinking on the boat and I start smoking a cigarette. Next thing you know, it's 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I'm smoking cigarettes. I'm not really worried about the cigarettes because I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And once I start running and doing stuff and I'm back in the gym, it all disappears pretty quick.
Well, because you can't kind of function, you know what I mean?
No, yeah. And the Coke and different stuff has just been me operating on the last 2 weeks of like, I'm just going to eat whatever I want for a little bit and drink whatever I want. But yeah, I usually don't drink a lot of Coke, and I'm not exactly like great at eating healthy. I order out for almost every meal.
I'm not judging anybody, but it's more of a thing of like, well, one, we don't do like sodas in the house. Like we use these Zevia sodas that are just way better for you. But I like Oreos just like everybody. Well, not everybody, but you know what I mean? Like I like food is everybody's struggle. Food and consistency of exercise is everybody's struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Bro, my thing is Triscuits and Cheese Whiz. My friends make fun. I get a can of Cheese Whiz, I put it out perfectly on a square, make a little sandwich out of it, and it lasts perfectly the entire box, the can and the box. And yeah,
that's a skill, bro.
My friends make fun of me of it. Perfect little sandwiches. Just
do you do the old like real close and make the flour? Is that what you do?
No. Like,
or do you do a
spread? Like it's like
you do like a zigzag back and forth.
The whole thing. It's all cheese.
Nice. And so, like, how many Triscuits are in a box?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I should know that probably. It's as much. That's my guilty pleasure.
Okay, but you can do a box and a can equally and not run out.
Yeah, man. There might be like 2 or 3 Triscuits left over or something.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
This last segment is brought to you by HeyJustBe.com. I believe that achieving balance in the mental, physical, and metaphysical aspects of your purpose by incorporating learning, serving, and creating can transform your life into one that you truly enjoy living. Want to know more? Go to www.heyjustbe.com. Okay, so how I usually wrap this thing up is I ask people, how do you take care of yourself so that you can take care of everybody else? And you do not do heroin, which is great, right? Okay.
Yeah. Step number one.
You got a job that you love to do and really like to do that makes you want to get up in the morning and not want to do heroin, right?
Yeah. Yep, that's true.
I feel like I'm really overplaying this heroin thing, but it sounds funny. Anyways, so you're an exerciser at times. You watch your diet at times, but it sounds like you kind of have a good idea of kind of like, I'm slacking off for a little bit. I don't have any doubt that I can pick it back up or I can like get back into it, like back into the routine. Is that true? Or
No.
you do struggle getting back to the routine? All right. So how do you take care of yourself? Because you're gonna be a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing, man? You like exercise, you read.
I am so bad at taking care of myself. Like I get routines, but I don't know. I've gotten to the point in my life where I can identify when I need a break, and then I don't know how to give myself permission to do that. So I just recently spectacularly burnt out on the channel and work and everything. And I'm in about a month right now of hardly doing anything and just kind of recovering from like 5 years of grinding and traveling constantly and working until late every day and getting up early. And so I am trying to learn to give myself permission to take like a vacation and not film it, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So like, we actually leave tomorrow. We're going on vacation we're going up to Seattle and going through Olympic National Park. And I'm just turning everything off. And we fly out tomorrow at like 3. And I've got to get better at that. And there's things that I think contribute to daily health and positivity and things in your head. So working out,
Right.
getting enough sleep, which I don't get and I've got to fix. Sleep, working out, eating good. These are all things that just keep you functioning like minimally at a good level, right? These should be basic things, I think, for everybody. And in some regard, even if it's just, maybe 2 or 3 days a week you're working out or something. But giving yourself permission to take a break, I think is important. And that's like this next thing that I'm trying to learn to do is give myself permission to just step away and take a break.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be, because you're so used to grinding the channel, minus anything else that would keep you from taking a vacation. That's got to make it hard in general. You know what I mean? Just because you're just so used to doing that all the time, but like you said, you kind of had a major burnout. So it's like, well, I take a break, regroup, or I just stay burned out.
Right.
Or I just burn it to the ground. Right.
This one was so big. Like I lost for about a month here. I've lost like it's all coming back right now. But yeah, for weeks, I lost motivation to even interact with the channel. Like I said, it's been like 5 years of just grinding, and every trip, it's not, I'm going to all these amazing places around the world, but, they're not vacations,
Yeah, you're working.
I'm working.
Yeah.
And they're usually like, I'm usually up before the sun at like 4 a.m. to get to some site so that we maximize our daylight hours.
Right.
Filming in places like Iceland where you have like 6 hours of sunlight. So it's like, we have to be there at X time. And so I get 6 hours of filming a day,
Right.
whatever it is, whatever we're working with,
Right.
wherever. But, yeah, so it's work. And, yeah, so I'm not filming on this trip. I'm just turning the phone off, and, I'm just going to take it easy and try to connect with, Nikki, my fiance, and enjoy the fact that we're having a kid.
Yeah.
And kind of take that in and just connect and just
enjoy the fact you don't have one yet.
Yeah. You're not the first person to tell me that.
Let me,
I get it.
Well, it's just like, somebody said it the best. It's a different life.
Right.
But it's a wonderful life if this is something that you want. Like, if it was something that was unexpected or that you did not plan or want, maybe that would be different. But like, if you want to do it, it's awesome.
We've been navigating that because it wasn't planned.
Well, but I mean,
but I've always wanted a family.
Even if it's maybe like in a sense of like, if it's not planned and then the parents aren't together, but if like when he or she gets here,
yeah,
like if you've always wanted a family and on some level, if your girlfriend's wanted a family, yeah, I'll be fine. You know what I mean? There's just like, you know,
It's
like
just going to be definitely
currently
a
at
big
this time, I'm going through potty training. So whereas I thought I was like, I really want to be out of diapers because I'm tired of changing diapers. Now I'm like, I really want you to stop peeing on the floor. And so you're just trading another one for another one. You know what I mean? But like, you know, when she, you know, tells us she's going to go to the bathroom and she does it by herself and does all, I mean, you're just like, you're proud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it's really rewarding.
Oh my God, this is going to be so crazy.
But you just, hey, just look, patience. Just have a lot. They don't know what they're doing ever in the first like 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? So just everything is an explanation and don't do that again. You know, just have a lot of patience. That's the best advice I can give you.
I'm trying to keep you alive.
Yeah,
right?
That's the big thing. It's like I give her a lot of freedom when there's low consequences,
right,
or even maybe higher consequences, but like she's just gonna fall down or something like that.
Right.
Like I'll let her do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if she's literally gonna like cut her hand off or kill herself,
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, we're not doing that.
Flip a skillet under her head or whatever.
You know. But then, you know, there are times like I remember when we had this little milk contraption we would make her. She's a little drink she would drink before bed. And it was like milk and water, kind of watered it down. We stir it up, and she would want to be the one to stir it up. And then ultimately, like she would spill it.
You knew it was coming.
You know it's coming, but you can't learn how not to spill milk.
Yeah.
If you don't ever practice not spilling milk.
Bro, I mean, that's life. It's just, we have such a problem in this world with people feeling like they're failures because they fail.
Yes.
Failing is required for success. And if you want to be successful at something, like some of the stuff that we're talking about, just continuing to push through, that's what you have to do, is just keep failing. Just keep being willing to fail. It's even similar to what I did in sales. People that washed out in sales are the ones that couldn't take hearing no all day.
Sure.
I don't need everybody to say yes in that job that I was doing.
Just one.
I just got to hit that one.
I heard it really worded like really great today. It was like, it's not failure. It's just your first attempt, your second attempt, your third attempt. I mean, like imagine if we categorize failure like riding a bicycle.
Right.
The first time you failed, you're like, just, okay, fuck this bike. I'm not doing this anymore.
Nobody's playing highlights of all the shots that Michael Jordan missed in his career.
Right.
They're playing the one they're playing, but I don't know what the stat is about how many shots that he, like buzzer beaters that he missed.
Right.
They're a lot, but he was willing to be the one that took that.
Well, if you want to be the dude that makes it, you got to be the one to be the dude that misses.
Yeah.
I mean, just don't miss very much.
You know, and that's I think that's where, you know, practice and, you know, trying and learning and doing it. It's like you're talking about with the editing. You just keep doing it and learning it, learning new ways and better ways to do it.
YouTube University.
Dude.
It's the best. I'm going to make shirts. It's just going to say YouTube you.
YouTube you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To graduate, all you got to do is just get a channel. That's
just
it.
have a channel.
Just have a channel. That's it. That's all.
With one subscriber?
With one
you're the subscriber.
Just a way to watch YouTube. That's all you have to have. Like, I mean, it's the best. Like, I'm mind blown how many people put videos of the most specific things on YouTube to fix and do certain things.
Yeah.
And like their thought process was like, you know what? Someone else's truck is going to knock at the front of this steering wheel right here, and they're going to want to know what to do. So I'm going to make a video. And I'm like, God damn it, Dale.
Or someone else.
Dale, thank you. Yeah, thank you for making that video, Dale.
Yeah. It's a step-by-step instructional thing.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
If you're lucky, there's 2 or 3. And then there's one that the guy doesn't know how to work his camera.
There's usually 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, but of every subject almost. Everything.
And some of them are not great, but they're what you need.
Well, you know, and even sometimes like there's the one video of the guy that he's the only one that thought to film this particular thing. You're like, well, his video's not that great, but he did get to the solution in the end.
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah, so here we are.
So I'm just going to watch this guy and work through his shitty camera work.
Everything that you need it's crazy. It's out there now.
He's like this. He's like, okay, so I'm going to sit there. Oh, fuck it. And it falls over. And he didn't even edit that part. He just picks the camera back up.
No, it's all one continuous shot.
He uploaded everything that he had. His wife comes out and yells at him halfway through the video, you know?
Yeah.
So does it feel good, man, to kind of be on the other side of this and not have to do any production and just hang out and talk and podcast?
Yeah. I am looking at I'm looking at my promoting one of my editors to the channel manager. I'm like so done. Like,
hey, I just want to be in a spot where I have an editor that I can promote to a channel manager.
Bro, like I edit some of my videos, but the videos that I edit are my drone videos, or I do these videos now that are, I go to these ancient sites and I do a full uninterrupted walkthrough. So there's no edit. It's all I have to do is upload however long it took me to walk the whole site.
Yeah.
And people love it. And I don't have to do anything, but those are that's my capability level with editing. It drives me crazy sitting in front of a computer, you know, and, you know, the editors that I have, Ethan and Tatum, are just crushing it with some of the content they're putting out. And so, you know, I just like let people, if I can afford it, I'm letting people that can do it.
Well, we're on a small budget around here. So, but I mean, you know, at this point, I do love editing videos. Like I love editing the podcast and coming up with a theme and the whole idea. And so like,
this is still manageable though. Like but you got to think like some of the sites that I'm going and doing, they're like a video. You may be scrubbing through like 2 hours worth of content from spot to spot with different angles and trying to put me talking here and connecting it with here. And, you know, it's, you know, it's maddening to me.
Oh yeah.
So, but they crush it. So, but they went to school for all that shit too.
Hey, shout out to those guys. Man, well, I ask everybody to give me a hug when they get out of here. You can push that mic out. My man, thank you so much. Appreciate you doing this.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.